single mom. It was tough sometimes. My father left when I was 2. I had to be hopeful in order to achieve what I've achieved. Just like Michelle had to be hopeful as a little girl on the south side of Chicago to dream that she could go to Princeton and she could go to Harvard and she could do all the things she's done. So we talk about hope. We talk about hope. You know, I've got hope on my signs. We got hope on our little stickers. I gave a speech in 2004 about hope. I wrote a book called The Audacity of Hope. And I notice now, lately, in these closing days of the campaign, some of the other candidates are speaking almost scornfully about the word. They're saying, oh, he's talking about hope again. He's so idealistic. He's a hope monger. You know, the implication being that if you talk about hope, you must be naive or engage in wishful thinking. Your head must be in the clouds, or you must be passive and just be sitting back, waiting for good things to happen, unwilling to fight or take action. That's not what hope is. Hope isn't blind optimism. Hope isn't an ignorance of the challenges that we face or denial of the hurdles that will stand in the way of us and our dreams. That's not what hope is. Hope's the complete opposite. Hope is imagining and then fighting for and working for what didn't seem possible before. It was hope. And that's something that you and I deeply understand. We know it is going to be difficult to provide health care for every American. Of course it will. We know that ending poverty or dealing with failing schools will not lend themselves to easy solutions. If we're serious about climate change, there will be sacrifice involved. We understand that. I know that. I know that because I fought on the streets. I fought in the courts. I've seen good legislation die because good intentions weren't enough, because they weren't fortified with political will and strategy and a working majority. I know how tough things can be. But I also know this, that every major change that has been made in American history has been because a few people hoped. That's what led the colonists to throw off the yoke of tyranny in the British Empire. That's what allowed slaves and abolitionists to resist that evil system. That's what allowed a new president to chart a treacherous course to make sure that we would not remain a nation half slave and half free. That's what allowed the greatest generation to defeat fascism and rise up out of a Great Depression. That's what allowed workers to dare to organize in the face of Pinkerton thugs. That's what allowed young people to get on buses and trains and automobiles and go down south and march and knock on doors and suffer fire hoses and dogs, and some got beaten and some got killed for freedom's cause. That's what hope is. Courage in the face of difficulty. Courage in the face of uncertainty. And that is the moment we're in right now. That's our chance in these next 72 hours. We have the chance to do something that has not been done before. We have the chance to imagine and then work for what didn't seem possible. And if you are doubtful still that we can accomplish it, understand this: we have already defeated the odds over these last 10 months. You and I together. We've already defeated the odds. The cynic said, well, you know what, he's not taking PAC money and federal lobbyist money. he won't be able to compete. And you proved them wrong. Because we got more small donations from more people across Iowa and across the country than any campaign in the history of America. They said we couldn't compete because we didn't have all the endorsements and the institutions helping out. You proved them wrong again. All those young people who are lined up here working with you, you guys built the best grassroots organization, not just here in Iowa, but anywhere in the country. They said, well, you know what? Maybe he's got the money in organization, but he's going to have to do things like everybody else does. He's got to run negative ads. He's got to go negative. And when we were down 20 points in the summer, all the pundits and all the smart folks, they were saying, okay, his only chance now, he's got a kneecap her. He's got to do a Tanya Harding on the front line. But you know what? We resisted. We kept a positive message. We pointed out differences, but we rejected the politics of slash and burn. And now over these closing days, we've been seeing the emails sent out and, saying I'm this and that, and the phone calls suggesting that I'm this and that, and, talking about my health care plan as if, we haven't said that we are going to cover every single American. We've seen millions of dollars pour in from outside groups and undisclosed donors. But you know what? We've seen this script before. We've seen this movie before. And that's why we aren't worried. That's why you have no fear. That's why you got a smile on your face. That's what my cousin Cheney calls the last throes of a Washington interested in resisting change. But you know what we've discovered? If the American people believe in change, it can't be stopped. If you believe, then we can go ahead and tell the corporate lobbyists that their days of setting the agenda in Washington are over. They have not funded our campaign. They will not run our White House. They will not drown out the voices of the American people when I come to the United States of America. If you believe, then we can stop talking about the outrage of 47 million people without health insurance. We can start doing something about it. We can stop talking about helping workers and actually deliver good jobs with good wages. We can stop talking about fixing our schools. I won't just talk about how great teachers are. I will reward them for their greatness by giving them more money and giving them more support and making sure they don't have to just teach to the test each and every day, if you believe. If you believe, then we can break the stranglehold of oil on our economy. We will end this war in Iraq. We will bring our troops home. We will finish the fight against Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan. If you believe, we will shut down Guantanamo. We will restore habeas corpus. We will restore our standing in the world. We will renew our diplomacy. If you believe, you will have a president who has taught the Constitution and believes in the Constitution and will obey the Constitution of the United States of America. If you believe. That's what hope is. Working, fighting for what did not seem possible before. That is what we can do in the next 72 hours. The polls look good, but understand this. The polls are not enough. The only thing that counts is whether or not you show up to caucus. The only thing that counts is whether over the next 72 hours you're willing to work for this and make the phone calls and knock on the doors and grab your friends and grab your neighbors and say it is time for us to deliver on change. That's the only thing, that's the only poll that we're paying attention to is Thursday. The poll at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock on caucus night.